Democrats don't have anybody. Republicans have a few people on the bench. But other than that, they don't really have anybody. They just don't. One of the things, if I was a Democrat, what I would do is I would harp on the J6 stuff and use the Republicans testifying as ways to draw further lines within, to try to further divide all of the people on the right. I would try to hype that as much as possible, and then I would try to push any kind of wedge between Trump and any or all potential frontrunners for 2024 and try to draw them into a fight. I see the media trying so hard to start a war between Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump. It is wild. They are trying so hard. They desperately want there to be a war, because whoever would emerge, I mean, if DeSantis, they would want to see, because DeSantis would be a formidable candidate, and they would love to see him all beaten up and, coming out of a Republican primary. I'm just saying, this is what they're wanting to have happen. They are wanting to have this happen. And thankfully, I don't think a lot of people on the right have bought into it. But right now anyway, that could change. I know, Kane, you see it too. I saw like a couple of other pieces. They were saying that, Casey DeSantis, Governor DeSantis' wife, wants him to run. They don't want him to wait. They don't know what another 4 years of that may look like. Maybe the tides change, which is true. I mean, you have like one opening really to kind of run, and like Biden, the fact that, I think really his shot before his brain was applesauce probably was before Hillary Clinton, right? But she was hell bent on running. She was going to run. It was going to happen. She was going to make it happen. And then twice. Insane. But the press trying to bait this battle. I was reading this piece. I'm going to pull it up. I was reading this piece, and they were talking about whether or not he's going to start kind of putting that together. I see some of the organization and some of the movement. They want him to run for president. It was a Washington Post piece. They're looking at all the people, the primary name checks is who they're looking at. They're looking at all the same people. Because there were 2 straw polls that took place just in the past month, I think, at big conservative events. One was the Western Conservative Summit. They've had a couple of these straw polls, and DeSantis performed really well in those. And they said that, DeSantis hasn't really indicated what he's totally going to do. But I think that the DeSantises I think they're a powerhouse couple. She's got media training. She's worked in television. She's worked in politics. She understands the nature of the game. I think that they would be an absolute powerhouse. So we'll see. Not that Melania Trump wasn't, but Melania Trump was very much... I think she was also so abused by the press. It's like, what are you going to say? Like, is there anything that you can't? There's nothing that she can say. There's nothing that she can do. I mean, here she spoke. How many languages does she speak? Like 6 languages. And they made fun of her for having an accent. Those people on the left who aren't racist apparently made fun of her for having an accent. They would mock it on television. If they did this any other time, they'd be, or if a Republican did that, they'd say the Republican was being jingoistic or racist or something like that. But I think she really was treated so horribly that I don't know if she would want to do it again. I really don't. That's a lot. That's a lot to put on. It's a lot. And also their son's a lot older too, which means that, and the press went after him being young. He's going to be older. That just makes him more attractive for the press to go after. So I don't know. There's a lot of consideration. Their kids are still little bitty. The DeSantis' kids. They're around my age. So actually, I think we might actually be the same age, but their kids are a lot younger. She's got media training. He's an attorney. He's got the legal background. He's got military service. He's used to dealing with the very kind of interesting dynamic in Florida. Because you either have super conservative Republicans in Florida, it feels like, and then you got like the Rick Scotts. And I'm not a fan of Rick Scott. I'm just not. I don't know. So we'll see. But I'm telling you, do not take media bait about this. There was a Politico piece. Let me pull this up. Rubio embraces low-key side. Politico saying that Rubio's considering a run. I don't think Rubio could handle a run. I don't dislike Rubio as a person. I just watched him collapse completely on his stage. When we did the Parkland Town Hall, I went up on stage right after him, and I watched the Republican that I was hoping was going to hold the line so I wouldn't have to do it by myself. On stage, I watched him totally crumple. And at that moment, I thought he might be a nice guy, but he is never somebody I could have in my foxhole. Ever. Seems like a really nice guy. But no. So I don't know. There's just a lot of weird stuff out there. But don't take the bait on it. Just relax and know this. Republicans have a great bench. We actually have a problem of having too many qualified people. That is a great problem to have. I just hope that people are smart and they don't get all stupid and try to take each other out and hobble each other. So we have the press and we have Democrats that are going to try to reduce the number of people who actually have the chance to run. So we don't need to help them with that. That time will come. But there's always the power jockeying. But we have a lot. I don't know who they have on the left. I don't know. They had 3 different analysts on MSNBC, CNN, and ABC, and they were all talking about Joe Biden and he's the inflation and it hurting his polling. I loved how MSNBC though had it as like the perception that it wasn't Putin that's what's hurting him. Oh, for the love, because that's the truth. You know, they say that's actually the truth of it. But honestly, think about this for a moment. Can you name one person that you feel is qualified enough, charismatic enough, and is not 1,000 years old, which might be redundant, to step in? I legitimately can't. The only Democrat who could run and win is someone who they would never support, and that's Joe Manchin. I'm telling you, they don't have anybody. Nobody in the House, what if the governors? Cuomo was going to be their guy. He was the guy that they were grooming. He was the guy that was going to run. That's why he did that book. That book was just a stepping stone for him for a campaign. But now he's out. So who else do they got? Newsom? Gavin Newsom's the only other guy that they have. They have nobody else. Newsom? Oh my gosh, the baggage that guy has. Oh, he's charismatic. You know, he uses a lot of hair product. No.